I'm so glad you're here listening to the Sustain Your Passion podcast. I'm Genesis, your host and business development expert. If you're ready to make a bigger impact and income while helping others, then you're in the right place. Thanks for joining me, and I can't wait to help you sustain your passion. Hi, everyone. Welcome to this week's episode of Sustain Your Passion. I am so excited to have a guest with me today that is going to blow your mind. I have so many questions. I just want to learn all about their business, what they do. As a medical astrologist, you are going to hear so much good wisdom. Okay, so if you would just love to introduce yourself, let people know where to find you online, and then we can dive right in.
Yes, definitely. Thank you for having me. I am Eir Atla. I'm a medical astrologist, an astroherbalist, and an astronutritionist. And I help women heal their body using their cosmic blueprint and their natal charts. And I am excited to talk today about what that means.
Yes, so cool. Okay, so let's just start with how did you come up with this business idea in the first place? There's got to be a lot of passion behind it. I know your practice brings a few different areas together. So, how'd you come up with your business idea?
Well, long story, very, very short. I was diagnosed at 19 with endometriosis and was basically told, suck it up, and this is just going to be your life forever. And there was no help or assistance or desire to do anything other than just throw some pills at me and get me out of their office as quick as possible.
Mm.
I was not happy with that answer and decided that there was definitely a better way. I trusted and believed in my body's ability to heal itself. And I didn't know how to do that at the time, but I was bound and determined I was going to figure it out. So I went down the rabbit trail of all kinds of different things and eventually stumbled across the trifecta for my body, which was herbs, medical astrology, and Reiki slash acupuncture, depending on what I was looking for like that moment. And I ended up having the baby at 28 that they said I would never have.
Aw.
And I have now been told that they can't find any evidence of endometriosis in my body. So my body is healed, my body is happy, my body is healthy. I am happy, and healthy, mind, body, and spirit finally. And I just fell in love with that modality and how easily it helped me to see what my body needed by using medical astrology and really dive deep and fix things. And so I just was like, hell yes, let's go. And I've
Mhm.
been using it ever since for my clients and it's been working
Wow.
and I love it.
Oh my gosh. So you really had a personal experience going from so much pain to passion about finding this way to heal your body. And it sounds like there was, a few key resources that really shaped that for you that now you get to help people with. Is that right?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yes, very much so.
Oh my gosh. I just love that. What a cool journey. Okay. So I want to hear what I heard you say it at the beginning. I've read it on your website and what do you use the most? What did you say something about a chart?
A natal chart,
Okay,
and
explain
it
that
is
to me.
literally
What is
some people.
that?
Yeah, some people call it a birth chart as well. So, if you've ever been interested in astrology and you want to find out what all the signs are for you and whatever planets and everything, it's where you would go to a birth chart reader or thing online to find where you can make your own, and you put in your place of birth, your date of birth, and your time of birth, being as accurate as possible with that time, because just in a few seconds sometimes things can change and that can make a difference. So as accurate as you possibly can be, and that will pop up what is called a horoscope, which is, most people think of horoscopes like the little blurbs about your sun
Right,
sign
like
in
your
the
daily
newspaper.
horoscope. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. But a true horoscope is actually that wheel that has the pie pieces on it, which is all divided into 12 different pieces, 12 different houses as they're called. And each house will have a sign that's governing it for your chart, right? And then there'll be the planets that are positioned in those houses, depending on where you were born, which house they will be in, that is determined by that, which sign that they are in. And then that gives me basically your cosmic blueprint, how your body is cosmically designed to function and behave and uptake nutrients, and what health problems you are more susceptible to over someone else. And then it also gives me all of the stuff to show me what exactly it is that you're missing and how we can get that into your body in a way that's going to work best for your body so you can heal your body.
Whoa. Fascinating. Okay, so let's say you're working with a new client. Is that like step number one?
Step number one is definitely let's do a reading because
Mm,
I also do health coaching. I was a nurse for 21 years. I retired
wow.
last year, actually. And so I combine all of that knowledge that I have from all those years of doing that and all of that schooling and certifications and everything I have in with all of this. So I also do like health coaching, right? Nurse health coaching in a way with it. So we will start with the medical astrology reading. And this is a very in-depth, detailed reading. I send them as videos because I found when I did them live, people were so overwhelmed with the amount of information that their brains kind of shut down like, 20
Mm,
minutes in, and they weren't actually learning, right, and hearing what was going on because it was too much because they're just really in depth. So I started recording them. I send them as a video. Once you get that video, you go ahead and you listen to it. You can pause it, you can take notes, you can rewind, you can re-listen, you can take 3 days to listen to it, whatever works for you, right? Once
mm,
you are finished listening to that, then we meet back together and we discuss everything that you heard, all the stuff that I found. We come up with a plan based on all of that. And then we work together closely for 3 or 6 months to help you dial in that plan, start these steps
mm,
for action, and get things dialed in and get you feeling better. I find 3 months is typically works for most people, depending on what they are dealing with. I work with a lot of women with hormonal issues. And so
mm.
if you're having a hormonal issue, it can take longer than 3 months, but you're going to definitely see a change in 3 months because it takes 3 menstrual cycles of making a change for you to notice a difference. So we really want
Oh,
to work together at least 3 months so that we can start seeing if what we're doing is really helping. And then at the end of that 3 months, we can add another 3 months, or you can say, hey, I feel like I have all the tools that you've given me to be able to continue this on my own. And then we can just kind of do a la carte if, we need to. So
right, right. It depends on everyone's like individual needs, right? That makes sense.
exactly. Yep. And everything
Cool.
is super individualized and dialed right down for you. I don't do one size fits all at all. So anything that I recommend is very specifically for you and your needs. Any herbs that we recommend, any herbal preparations will all be basically built around what your body is saying will work best for it over somebody else's. So it's really a quick way to dial in things without trying to throw everything at a wall and seeing what sticks and hope that one of those things will do what we want it to, right?
Hmm. Which is pretty much the medical model, right? It's like, okay, we think it's this.
Yes.
Let's try some medicine. Oh, that medicine caused this other problem. Let's add some more medicine. Like, eh.
Yes. Yeah, they call it the differential model. They write down all the things they think it could be and they just start throwing things at
Yeah.
number 1. And if that doesn't work, then we stop those and we throw things at problem number 2. And eventually you may find what's going on, but the chances are not as great as they are when you already kind of have the blueprint of what's going on, right?
Yeah, that's fascinating. So you mentioned that there's some pieces, like nutrition or something like that, of like what you get when you do a first like initial reading with you from that initial natal chart.
Hmm.
What are some of the other pieces? Like now I'm so curious, like what could I learn about myself without having to go through, I don't know, like months of elimination diets or something? Like what all
Right?
there be listed and how the heck does the day and
Yes.
place and time that I was born add up to anything medical or nutritional? Like, help me understand this.
Yeah. So, um, each planet is an influence and exerts that influence over our bodies. And each sign governs a body system, a body part of some sort in our body. We start with Aries in the head and we
Oh.
work our way through to Pisces in the feet.
Wait, where's
So,
Libra? I'm a Libra. Where's
Lib-
Libra?
Libra rules the balances of the body. She's the scales, right? So, balances.
Mm.
She rules the ovaries, she rules the kidneys, she rules the electrolyte balance, the acid alkaline balance, she rules the hormone balance, she rules the fluid balance of the
Hmm.
body. And she has a really close association with our fertility
Mm.
as individuals with ovaries because of that association. So if I have someone comes to me and they are struggling with fertility issues, I always go and check where Libra is first, because that'll give me some ideas of what's going on and what's
Interesting.
needing to help. So we start there, right? Those are the influences. So like the sun is a very hot, drying influence, which most people get, right? Because we feel the sun more than like any other planet, right? We go outside and there's the sun. And
Sure, we
so
can
that one
recognize it.
obviously,
Yeah.
exactly. It's so much easy. So I like to start with that one for people and talk about that because it's so much easier to like understand. And if you're out in the sun for a really long time and you don't drink any water, what happens? You start feeling very thirsty, you're very dehydrated, you're
Sure.
sweating a lot, you're hot, and you're like, oh my God, your skin starts drying out, right? And you could potentially burn, and then you have flaky skin. So again, from all that dryness. And so that is the influence that the sun gives us. The moon is very cooling and moistening because it's the opposite of the sun, right? And it's mainly
Oh,
just a
okay. Yeah.
reflection of the sun. And so each planet, minus the outer three and Mercury, all have a balancing planet. So like Venus and Mars balance each other, Saturn and Jupiter balance each other, the sun and moon balance each other, and then Mercury, which is named after the messenger of the gods who could go between all the realms, can go between all of the planets and balance them as well. So we can bring in Mercury's influence to help balance things out if you're having too much of a planet or not enough of another one. And so what happens next is I go and I look to see where all of the planets are and which signs they're in, and see which influence they're exerting over that part of your body. Each planet also governs certain vitamins and nutrients and minerals and things like that. And so that helps me see like what could potentially be happening with the nutrients in your body and which one your body may need more of. Saturn's influence is very constrictive and restricting, and it likes to like slow things down and make things not work as well in the body. It disrupts blood flow, it disrupts nutrients going where they need to go, it disrupts energy flow. So if I see that Saturn is like next to your sun in Libra, let's say, for example, right, I can see that slowing down constrictive energy could be influencing your sun and your Libra. And then this could lead to some issues with balances in your body, specifically hormone balances. And then I would be like, okay. And we know the sun governs vitamin A, vitamin D, magnesium, and iodine. And I could see that with Saturn's influence, those may not be something that your body is able to use appropriately, or it can't uptake it as well, or it maybe doesn't have as much as it needs. And so you need to take higher doses of vitamin A, vitamin D, magnesium, and iodine. And vitamin A is absolutely necessary for ovarian health. And so if you're not having enough of that, you could have a hormonal imbalance. So we would look at that and go, hey, it looks like Genesis needs, some extra vitamin A. And we would discuss how to get that through your diet and nutrition as the first source, and then
Whoa.
supplement to supplement.
I'm just like, I had no idea. So, like, how did you first discover this? And, like, did you just dive into a bunch of reading? Like, what's the history here? I'm a little skeptical. Like, just tell me more about the history here.
Yeah, so medical astrology was developed back in the 1500s, 1600s in Europe, specifically between like England and like Switzerland and Italy. They all kind of developed together. Physicians of the day started noticing that with like the sun moved into Aries, everybody coming to see them was coming because they were having headaches, or they'd had a sudden like stroke, or something had happened with their head, right? Head injury, an accident that influenced their head. And then when the sun would move into Taurus, they'd be like, man, we have a bunch of strep throat and people that have throat issues and whatever else going on, right? And laryngitis. And they started putting two and two together and were like, hey, there's something going on here with this. And they started documenting it and detailing it and came up with the whole system that we know now as medical astrology. It was a super popular system for a very long time, and was in fact something that doctors that were going through medical school at the time had to learn and know, or they would not be able to graduate, get their degree, and go help people as a doctor. If they were basically seen like if you didn't use and know medical astrology, you weren't really a real physician. You were kind of a quack and no one wanted to see you. Um, and so it used for a very long time up until the early 1900s, and it started falling out of favor when we started getting a lot more like pharmaceuticals and stuff, where they were kind of pushing more toward that model instead of the more holistic model of understanding each person individually. And they wanted to try to get to see more people and stuff, and so they came up with a different way of doing things, and it kind of fell out of favor, but it's still been in the background for a really long time. So it combines astrology. It combines Ayurveda medicine, which is the ancient system from India. That is their health system that they still kind of use to this day. It's about 10,000 years old. It combines traditional Chinese medicine attributes and things in there as well, which is also just about as old or older than Ayurveda. And it combines some of the Arabic systems as well of health that they were using at that time. So it's kind of combining a lot of different systems on top of just having its own, thing going on at the same time.
Wow.
And it's been absolutely amazing. I love it. It skyrocketed my, understanding of so much when I started using it. So each planet also governs certain herbs, and there is pretty much a herb out there for any ailment you can think of that can be used to help with whatever is going on. And so knowing that, like I was saying earlier, if your Libra is afflicted in your chart and your sun is struggling, then we can look at the sun ruled like herbs, and we can start adding more of those into your life as well, via teas, tinctures, creams, balms, whatever we decide is going to work best for you to take and get those into your system. And that will help start balancing out that, affliction that Libra and the sun are having in your chart.
Wow.
So that's
Interesting.
part of it. Then we have the nutrition piece. And so I found out about this. Honestly, I stumbled across it like, I can't even tell you how long ago now. It was a while. And it spoke to me, but seemed like you. I was like a little bit like, I'm not sure. So I was like, let me just figure out my own stuff first and see how that works, right? If it works. And
Yeah.
so I did my own chart first. And that's when I found that I was, like I said earlier, diagnosed with endometriosis. When I looked at my chart, I saw that Saturn is in Scorpio for me. Scorpio rules the uterus. And I noticed that because of that, I wasn't getting like the nutrients and the blood flow and the energy flow that I needed to my uterus, and it wasn't functioning as it should. So I
Gotcha.
upped all of those vitamins and minerals that I know help with uterine health. I started working on helping like my liver as well, because that's part of our process of like getting those excess used up hormones out of our body. And it showed that mine probably wasn't functioning at 100%. So I started working on that, and I started working on the nutrition piece, and I worked on some lifestyle changes that I knew would help. And I did, like I said, like the acupuncture to open up like those meridians and the cheese and stuff like that. And it was amazing, but I started feeling better, and my periods got better, and the pain started disappearing. And before I knew it, they were like, oh, well, we don't think you even have endometriosis anymore. Are you
Right.
sure that? And I
Wow.
was like, yeah, I'm pretty sure. I knew I was diagnosed with it, y'all. So
Yeah. Oh my
it,
gosh. I mean, that's
and
the
I was
proof,
like,
right? Like you
okay.
started feeling better. That's huge.
Yes, and it was huge, because I am telling you, from 19 until about 25-ish, 26-ish, when I discovered this, I felt like shit 99% of the time. Anybody
Damn.
will tell you that I looked sick, I acted sick, I was sick, I did not feel well, and it showed. And all of a sudden people were like, "What are you doing? You look great, and you've coming out to things that you haven't come out to for like years, because you just haven't had the energy or the health to do it,
Yeah.
right?" And so people started noticing. And then I was like, okay, well, let me do this for somebody else and see if it's going to do the same thing, right? Like maybe it's a fluke. But then I did it with an initial client, and same thing happened, and the next one, and the next one. And I was like, okay, this is legit, and I need to do this forever. And so I
Yeah.
started looking for like ways to study it more. It honestly, I did most of it through books at first, and just like hyper focusing 100% on like learning everything and reading all I could and figuring it out kind of on my own, because there was no classes or courses or anything that I could find at that time. Um, in the last few years, things have started changing, and there are some courses now. So I ended up going ahead and signing up for them and taking them, just to see like if I, add that knowledge, and then just kind of see if what I had been teaching myself all these years was like on par with what these
Yeah.
people were saying. And so I did end up getting a couple of certifications in medical astrology in the last like 4 years. But prior to that, it was just me and a book.
That makes sense. And like, I think that's how so many people start their businesses. They develop an interest, a passion, whether it's, because they're trying to heal something for themselves or someone they love or community they care about. And that is the best place to build a business from is from a personal passion and mission. And gosh, it seems to be working for you. So what's your business look like these days? And like, what's 2024 gonna bring you? Are you hoping to like expand this year, kind of keep things the same? Just talk to me about what's next for you.
Yeah, this is a foundation building and expansive year for me. So last year I had been using medical astrology in my practice for a very long time. I have several degrees in herbalism as well. I have my nursing degree, like I mentioned. I also got a certificate in naturopathy. So I've been combining all of those and doing it, but I never told anybody that I was using medical astrology. I would get the
Okay.
information I needed from my clients and I would do it in the background and I would make these plans and we would figure everything out. And they were, singing my praises as things are healing, but she's just a herbalist, right? Or she's just a health coach, but somehow she's amazing. And in the
Mm,
last few years, I've really felt called by the universe, my spirit guide, source, whatever you want to call it, that that's not enough anymore. I don't need to be hiding. I need to be like putting out there that this is what I do. And it's okay to
yeah.
acknowledge that I'm doing this, like, witchy and woo stuff, right? Combining the unseen and the
Yes, own
seen
your
and the,
witchy
yeah,
woo-ness. I love that.
yes. And so the last few years, I have done that. I've started doing medical astrology, like just on their own and not just for a while, just to get like honed in on like how I wanted to run them with someone else, right? And that's when we discovered video works way better than in person, right? So I started doing those to get
Right.
that, and then I combined it with like the health coaching packages. So now you get all of that together and you get to work closely with me. And that has been doing absolutely wonderful. Things have been exploding and really growing. I've got to help a lot
Hey.
more people that I don't think I would have ever met because they were looking for a woo spiritual type like
Yeah.
person to help them that also knew medical stuff, and they would never have found me if I hadn't acknowledged that I was doing this, right, and put
Mhm.
it out there. So this year so far, I have changed up my podcast. I changed the name of it at the end of last year and made it way more tuned in about medical astrology and the witchy and the woo and the spiritual and healing and all of that, and
Cool.
that's just exploded. And then I released a program here recently that I launched back in the beginning of March into February, somewhere in there, called the Astro Aligned Kitchen, where you can come and join this self-paced course where you learn all about how the planets affect your metabolism and your nutrition and all of that from there, and learn how to nourish your body appropriately so that you can have happy, healthy hormones and you can do the activities that you love, right? Because your body is nourished appropriately, and it's kicking diet culture to the curb because honestly, fuck them. We are
Yes.
not about starving our bodies anymore. I don't know about you, but like I am really tired of the whole you got to starve yourself to like look how someone else thinks you should, and I'm just not
Gross.
about that. So this
No.
program is the exact opposite of that. It's like eat all the
Nice.
foods that you love. Here's the best foods for your body. Make that the 80% that you eat. And then you know what? That other 20% of the time, go have fun. Enjoy those birthday parties and family get-togethers and celebrations and eat all the food there that you want and don't starve yourself. But here's how
Mhm.
your metabolism works. So this is what's best for you. Take that information and do with it what you will, right? So it's just about that. It helps people get their kitchens all set up for success so they can nourish their
Hmm.
bodies and everything is set up appropriately so you can go and, not have to keep running to the store to get that stuff that you need
Oh
because you
my
don't
gosh,
have it
I love
already.
that.
So it's combining again the witchy and the woo, but with the physical, and there's a lot of studies that I mentioned in there too. So there is science in there too, y'all. It's not just the witchy and the woo.
Right.
Um, Combine it all together, and that's been really popular. People have been loving it because it's giving them permission to enjoy life and not caring like about having to look a certain way while doing it or be a certain weight while doing it, because none of that matters. If you're not enjoying life, it doesn't none of the other stuff matters if you're miserable. So
Right.
that has been absolutely great. I am hosting a women's holistic health conference that's coming up in May for Women's Health Month. And we will
Yes.
be having nine different speakers that will be coming talking about all kinds of different holistic health modalities to help enact healing um, in your body and specific like things that you can do. It's going to have a lot of actionable steps. If you upgrade to the VIP ticket, then you also get to spend 45 extra minutes one-on-one with each speaker to see how their modality really works and get some more information from them and see if this is something you want to pursue even more outside of just the conferences and presentations that we're going to be having. So
Cool.
up, and it's been pretty awesome. So this year is building up some more like courses and things that people can come into and make it a little more DIY for those who maybe prefer that avenue and that method of doing things, while still offering the one-to-one stuff with me. And
Perfect.
adding some more stuff to my podcast, and just really enjoying life while doing all of this, because I've about three planets in Sagittarius in my fifth house of creativity, and it's Uranus and it's Neptune, and those two are, they don't like to do things the same as everybody else. So I am showing that it's okay to ditch the status quo and do and live life how you want, and you can still grow and run a business. So I live on the road in my van, and we travel all over, and I work about 20 to maybe 30 hours a week while exploring and having fun. And so
I
going
love
around and giving
that.
permission to do what you want and still run a business.
Yes, and then it's totally possible. Like that's what Sustain Your Passion is all about, right? Like meeting your biggest business goals, like moving towards them, but without burning out. Also, the van life thing is so interesting because my sister's fiance and her, they spent last year in
Mm-hmm.
their camper van, and I'm actually staying with her right now. And they offered to let me use it. And I'm like, oh my God, am I going to totally own this like laptop lifestyle, nomad life, and just travel and work my business
Yes.
from a camper van? Like, how is that for you? Do you recommend it? Oh my gosh, this is totally going to be a like ADHD left turn, but tell me about that lifestyle.
Yes. Oh my God. Life has been so much better since I just embraced that I don't like to do things the same way as other people, and that it's okay
Yeah.
to do that. So yeah, my back in 2019, my partner and I were like, hey, we are really tired of this rat race. We never see each other. We never see the kids, and we are really over. I was working like 100 hours a week at that point, and they were
Whew.
working close to like 60,
Oh my
while still trying
gosh,
to like
just to
manage a household
survive.
and kids. Yeah, and it
Wow.
was like we were just making the bills, but it wasn't a ton extra to do much of anything else with, right? And we were just miserable. Everybody was miserable. We were constantly sick. The kids were constantly sick. Nobody was
Of
happy, right?
course.
No one was happy. So we were like, we need a change. We wanted to do something radical. I found this out later, but I ran their chart, and they also have a stellium, which is 3 or more planets in Sagittarius in the fifth house, same as me. So
Interesting.
we are Sagittarius is the wanderer, right? Like the nomad of the zodiac. They don't like being in one place. They like to adventure and do things. And so we just literally have all of that like energy in us to just like wander, like that wanderlust. And so we were like, yeah, let's try something different. So we sold the house, we quit our jobs, we bought a camper, and we moved into it, and we took off on the road. I ended up picking up a travel nursing contract just like for the hell of it, like, hey, let's just do this. We can go somewhere else and we'll see if we like it. If we hate it, we'll find something else, right? And we did that for a number of years while I was running my business, like in the background on the side, instead of as like, because I actually find time to it. I had it for a really long time, and then my nursing had kind of taken over for a little while due to some life circumstances. And so
Hmm.
here it could finally come back to the forefront. And so I started working on that more, and my passion for that just exploded. And then the pandemic hit, and we were in a really good position compared to so many other people because we didn't have to worry. Our camper was paid off, like all of our vehicles were paid off, so like we didn't have to worry about if we had money coming in regularly or not at that point. And we were just so happy that we had decided to do that when we did, because if we hadn't, we would have lost the house to a foreclosure, which is way worse than
Wow.
having sold it.
Yeah.
Right? And so
What
we've been
timing?
doing this.
Wow.
I know, it was amazing. It was definitely the right timing. Since then, we have downsized to a van. Um, the kids just
Cool.
found that the big camper was too much space, and they were always
Mm.
like wanting to be right next to us anyways. And like we
Yeah.
had a whole bedroom we had a bedroom for each one of them, and they never stayed in them. They wanted to sleep like in the living area because it was closest to like where our bedroom was. And so I said, why do we have all this space if we're not even using like half of it, right? So we
Yeah.
downsized, and now we downsized to a smaller RV, and now we're in a van because we want it to be able to travel a little more easier. Several of the kids have grown up and moved out, so they're no longer traveling with us. But
Mm.
yeah, it's been great. My business has really exploded because I've had A, more time to devote to it, and
Mhm.
B, I have set it up in a way that works really well if I don't happen to have internet access
Ooh,
for
yeah.
whatever reason. I have a router that comes with us everywhere, so we have mobile internet, but occasionally internet decides that it's just going to do its own thing, and I still can function without having that, and my business will still go on. So it's taught me to really set things up, and it's also really helped my business grow because I want to go exploring, and I want to go hiking, and I want to spend time with my kids, and I want to go do whatever, and I don't want to be sitting behind a computer or whatever all day, right? So it
Yeah.
has really forced me to do only the things in my business that will move the needle forward in my business forward instead of focusing on a bunch of fluff. So it's really helped
Totally.
ultimately.
Oh my gosh, I love that because okay, that's something I talk a lot about with my clients is like and actually I just did a new talk that I'm editing, so it's like
Mm-hmm.
fresh in my brain, but I talk about all the time that like the first the biggest change I had to make to start really upping my income, like, getting into the, 50, 60, 80, 90K years was slowing the fuck down. Like deciding, okay, I could do all these things, or I could
Mm-hmm.
do these couple things that like I really like really well and like just
Yep.
not do the rest. But that
Yeah.
idea of like, no, you have to be busy. We have to have like stuff to
Mm-hmm.
complain about when we see other people. We have to have things that we're unhappy about in order for this like social status slash like lifestyle to work is
Yeah.
so unnecessary. Like we really can all just
Yeah.
be happy and like we
Yeah.
could move towards that
Yes.
goal. So I'm just so happy to hear that you've taken those risks and continued choosing what's right for you and your family because now you have a thriving business and all the freedom you've always craved, which you used to think you needed, to make a lot of money in order to afford. But now you see what's
Mm-hmm.
really most important is like time with your family, time to do what feels good to you and refuels you, and a healthy body, and all those things that like your job will never be able to give you, but your business can support you to have. It just might take a
Uh-huh.
little bit to get there, and it's so worth it.
Yes, yes. And talking about that, like avoiding hustle culture now, it
Mm-hmm.
took me probably a good like 2, 3 years of being on the road to like regulate my nervous system into understanding that I did not have to be on all the time. I did not have to be constantly
Yeah.
stressed out. And actually, right before we left, I was diagnosed with ADHD in 2019, like right at the beginning of the year, right before we like sold everything and we're like, let's go, right? And honestly, now here it is all these years later, and I don't even like resonate with an ADHD diagnosis anymore because I don't have any of the symptoms anymore since I've started living
Mm.
life this way and like just actually listening to my body and not having to be on all the time or constantly running or working 100 hours a week and I'm not so stressed out. It's like my nervous system is so happy again and I'm like where is this focus coming from? I have never had this in my
Yeah.
life. And it's gotten so much better. I actually did a podcast episode about that recently, about how I'm
Nice.
like, I don't even consider myself having ADHD anymore, and this is why, and it's really weird to me because
That's so
I
cool. Like it's
just
not flared up, right? It's not
not
it's
not at all.
wow. Interesting. I can resonate similarly in that. So I was first diagnosed ADHD at 28, I think it was,
Mhm.
and then OCD in 20 when I was 29, I think it was like a year later. And once we
Okay.
started treating the OCD, the ADHD symptoms actually went away. And so realizing like, oh, it can be flared. Like my ADHD
Mhm.
can be worse some days. And it's not just my hormones, it's also my environmental factors and my choices and my
Yes.
lifestyle. And like that pressure meant, okay, I can make some different choices if I want. And I love the way you spoke about this earlier. It's just such an empowering perspective to offer people education, right? And that's why personally I love having my podcast. I put out a ton of free marketing resources that are all about like how to actually build your online business, because gosh, if we had more options, maybe we'd have less people that are, really fucking sad. And maybe there'd be less grief
Yes.
and strife in the world if we could all really get to know who
Mm-hmm.
we are and then align that with what we do in an intentional way. And like that is what gets me out of bed every morning. And so just thank you so much for sharing your story. And it sounds like you are doing all the things and like seeing the success you have been working towards. Oh my gosh, I love it. And so I'm just curious, as we wrap up this podcast, if you were to say, like, this is my best business tip, what do you think, like, one of your biggest, best business tips would be?
You don't have to do what all of the big business gurus tell you have to do to create a successful business. I run my business in a completely like out of the box, like crazy way that I've had so many people who are like big business gurus or big marketers that I have spoken with, networked with, who literally tell me that my business should not be doing what it's doing because I'm not following any of the rules. And yet it is, because that's what works for me. And people feel that authenticity and they feel that energy that's coming off of it. And when I was following all the stuff you're supposed to do, quote unquote, things weren't going as well. So you don't have to follow what everyone else says you have to do, and you can still have a business that you love, that supports you, that is your passion, that's helping others if that's how you're choosing to do business, and it will be fine. You don't have to burn yourself out or hustle to death to get it where you want it to be. So my best business tip is ignore all of that advice, listen to what your inner self wants and follow that.
Yes. Oh my gosh. I'm so glad we found each other because same. I couldn't have said that better myself. It's so good. So where can people find you if they want to know more about your work?
Yeah, the best place to find me, two best places, is my podcast, Alchemy, Astrology, and Astro Health. It is on pretty much every podcast platform, so easy to find. I have a regular side and I have a subscription side to that as well. So you can subscribe and get extra episodes and like actual live events with me where we chat together for different things. So it's pretty cool. So there's two sides to that. And then you can come to my website, that is atlaastrology.com/everything. You go to that page and it literally details everything that is currently available in my business for you to interact with me. And I have my blog on there as well, which also gives a lot of education and details a lot of information. And you can sign up to work with me. You can download my freebies from there, and you can find everything that you need to find about me on those two places.
Perfect. Cool. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much for your time, for sharing your wisdom and experience with the SYP community. Oh, I can't wait to have you back someday and just hear about all this growth and find out where you're at in your van. And like, is it a van? Is it a RV? Did you find a cabin? I don't know, but I'm just so excited for everything you're building. Thank you again for sharing your time and energy with us here on Sustain Your Passion. And I will talk to you later.
Yes. Thank you for having me.
Thanks. Bye. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Sustain Your Passion podcast. If this episode helped you gain a bit more clarity, courage, or confidence, please share it with your friends on social media or in a text. It would mean the world to me. Thanks in advance for sharing this episode. I hope you have a great week, and I'll talk to you soon.